to the one and only. You choose the way. Give thanks for the blessings. Forgive what you must. This is your right in which you can trust. Every breath you breathe is yours for the taking. Every change of mind is yours for the making. Everything you do is yours for the doing. Every gift of love is yours for the giving. For freedom to worship, freedom to pray, to the one and only, you choose the way. Thanks for the blessings, forgive what you must. This is your right in which you can trust. Follow the path that you will create. Say what you will, believe in your faith. This is the reason we live where we live. Send up our prayers and learn to forgive. For freedom to worship, freedom to pray, to the one and only, you choose the way. Thanks for the blessings, forgive what you must. This is your right in which you can trust. Freedom to worship, freedom to pray, to the one and only, you choose the way. Give thanks for the blessings, forgive what you must. This is your right in which you can trust. Freedom.
Thank you, Michael. Not only for playing, but for composing. We've got a multi-talented music person. On this Independence Day weekend, it's good to take a moment to think about why this holiday is indeed named for independence and what freedom means to us. What does freedom mean not only here, but around the world? Is there truly independence? On January 6, 1941, before my time, I want to point out, President Franklin Delano Roosevelt delivered his State of the Union address to Congress. Europe at the time, of course, was engulfed in a terrible war, and the United States so far had not entered into that war due to the efforts of isolationists in this country. Others, though, saw a need for the US to enter in and support our allies, which eventually happened, as we know, when Hawaii was attacked in December of that year. Most of us know that history already. But the closing of that speech in January 1941 outlined what would come to be known as Roosevelt's 4 freedoms. He outlined the rights of each person across the globe. These freedoms were not just aimed at the citizens of this country, but intended for the global community. These are the words FDR used that day to express his thoughts. In the future days which we seek to make secure, we look forward to a world founded upon 4 essential human freedoms. The first is freedom of speech and expression everywhere in the world. The second is freedom of every person to worship God in his own way, everywhere in the world. The third is freedom from want, which translated into world terms means economic understandings which will secure to every nation a healthy peacetime life for its inhabitants, everywhere in the world. The fourth is freedom from fear, which translated into world terms means a worldwide reduction of armaments to such a point and in such a thorough fashion that no nation will be in a position to commit an act of physical aggression against any neighbor anywhere in the world. There is no vision of a distant millennium. This is no vision of a distant millennium. It is a definite basis for a kind of world attainable in our own time and generation. That kind of world is the very antithesis of the so-called new order of tyranny, which the dictators seek to create with the crash of a bomb. Ending the quote. Now, according to the website of Roosevelt's library, they write, the ideas enunciated in Roosevelt's Four Freedoms were the foundational principles that evolved into the Atlantic Charter declared by Winston Churchill and FDR in August 1941, the United Nations Declaration of January 1942, and President Roosevelt's vision for an international organization that became the United Nations after his death, and the Universal Declaration of Human Rights adopted by the United Nations in 1948 through the work of Eleanor Roosevelt. Those four freedoms are those of freedom of speech, freedom of worship in one's own way, freedom from want, and freedom from fear. Unfortunately, Roosevelt's vision is still as needed today, some 81 years later. Throughout the world and even our own country, these freedoms still need to be brought into play. Too many people are unable to speak freely. Freedom to worship or not worship is denied to many. There is fear and want in many places. And as I said, these needs are not just global, but the lack of them is evidenced throughout our country. I find especially the freedom from fear and the freedom from want is particularly lacking in some ways, particularly for people of color in our nation. The fear of getting stopped for a simple traffic violation turning into something more violent and even death is indeed a fear of too many of our country. Fearing for one's offspring in this day and age is strong as we watch the political football bring about climactic disaster. And we know that want is rife everywhere, as too many people wonder where their next meal is coming from, as too many shelter down on sidewalks and in doorways for the night. The want to control their own bodies has even been denied to many as of late. What other freedoms are denied that lead to want? We can all come up with examples on our own, I'm sure. Now, I don't mean to be a complete downer on this holiday weekend. Progress is being made and consciousnesses are raised on a regular basis. As Dr. Martin Luther King points out, the arc of the oral universe is long but bends towards justice. We have to remember where we've been and where we're going. We seem to need to accept setbacks along with progress and remember that things will hopefully get better. Roosevelt's Four Freedoms makes me think about the freedoms that are part of being a person of faith, a person who follows a spiritual path. Thinking about these freedoms, certainly there's overlap in the freedom of worship. Unfortunately, around the world, there are still restrictions on how one might worship, either explicit or implicit. Yes, there are edicts around the world that limit religion in some places, but there is fear about worshiping as one wishes, even in this country. Muslims are discriminated against in many places, worship in fear. Similarly, those who follow the Jewish faith take extraordinary measures at times to keep themselves safe as they worship. Mosques, synagogues, temples, all are attacked by those who would deny the freedom to worship. Another freedom that we have is the freedom to follow our conscience. We are called to a higher power to believe what we think is right. We can seek out the divine spirit within us and define that spirit however we choose. We also have the freedom to act on our faith. In fact, many of us feel called to do so. Many are called to speak out, to write letters, to protest based on our beliefs. Our freedom to act is a call for many of us, in fact, a call to be part of our culture and yet to stand apart and actively critique. A fourth freedom for us is to be in community. We gather together for support, for strength, for company, and to find those with similar outlooks as we do here today. We need each other in an interdependent way. Most of us aren't called to be hermit monks living in a private cell with little or no contact with others. We are free to come together, to exchange ideas, to be challenged by each other, to enjoy each other's company. We come together, be it in person or online, to weep, to laugh, to hold each other through good and difficult times. Surely you can come up with freedoms that you feel as a person of faith or as one on a spiritual path, or however you define yourself. It's good, though, to reflect on freedom on this 4th of July holiday weekend. Freedom should never be taken for granted. Give thanks for any freedoms you do feel and work for freedoms of others who lack them. And so it is. Amen. Today, we're going to practice taking a mindful pause for gratitude. The topic of our gratitude today is independence. You may choose to focus on independence relating to the 4th of July, since that is tomorrow, or maybe independence relating to something else completely. Notice what naturally comes up in your practice. I invite you to begin by closing your eyes if you haven't already, and paying attention to your in-breath and your out-breath. Take 5 deep rounds of breath, bringing the in-breath all the way down to your belly and drawing your belly back toward your spine on the out-breath. At the end of your 5th out-breath, I invite you to keep your eyes closed and slowly bring one hand on top of the other onto your heart. Move your in-breath and your out-breath to the space of your heart now. Feel your heart grow big and full on the in-breath. Soften your heart on the out-breath. Take 3 more rounds of breaths like this. Once you have connected your breath to your heart, begin to connect your mind to your heart. Start to notice what about your independence, your freedom to choose, you are grateful for in this moment. Notice whatever comes up. It can be big or small. Maybe it is being able to go to school and learn. Maybe it is something like being able to choose what you eat for dinner once a week. Perhaps it is for your access to medical care or the companionship of family. Once you notice what you are grateful for, begin to breathe into that feeling. Hold that gratitude for your independence in your heart. Fill it up on your in-breath. Take it into your heart on your out-breath. Take 5 more rounds like this, all the while holding that gratitude in your heart space. When you finish your last out breath, keep your eyes closed and just notice how you feel. How does your body feel? How does your breath feel? How does your mind feel? And maybe even turn up the corners of your mouth up to the sky. And gently open your eyes when you are ready.
Here at Unity Spiritual Center, we are an ocean of love. Great. And we have an inspiring vision, an exciting mission, and compelling values by which we strive to live. And please join with me in saying them aloud. Our vision is centered in God. We co-create a world powerfully transformed through the growing movement of shared spiritual awakening. Our mission is we are a creative, joy-filled spiritual community dedicated to healing, inspiring, and transforming the lives of all people through prayer, education, and love. And our values are spirit-led, generous with resources, inclusive, joyously creative, and guided by integrity. Thank you. And thank you, Gerry, for that message today. One of remembrance and of hope. And in this space, feeling so inspired by our vision, mission, and values, and feeling so enriched by what we've experienced here today, let us take time now to be a channel for enrichment through our generous tithes and love offerings. As Michael shares the next beautiful song, please take that time to write out a check to USC, or if you're on Zoom, to make a donation online. If you're here in the sanctuary, the ushers will come forward to take your offering. And practicing the principle of tithing ourselves as a spiritual community, we are pleased to tithe 10% of the offering collected every Sunday to various Unity organizations and to local nonprofits serving San Francisco. Let us now take a moment to bless our tithes and love offerings as we cup them in our hands or next to our hearts. And let us say our offering blessing, which is on your screen. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you, God.
Okay, before I begin this tune, Brian, I'll let you do your thing. I need you. Now, I need also someone to just hit 1 and 3 on the drum of any side. You're going to play tambourine is what I'd like to see happen. Okay, Gerry, I'm going to draft you here. It's actually pretty easy. So each play with me. So pick any drum you can do. Yeah, that's fine. Sit on the box or whatever. All right. So what I'm looking for is what we call in the music industry boom chuck. Okay. So you go boom chuck. Opposite. Yes. So that works. Here we go. We are free and independent. We create for greater good. Free to love, free to live, happy in our neighborhood. We are free and independent. We create for greater good. Free to love, free to live, happy in our neighborhood. That's it. Celebrate your freedom. Celebrate your soul. Life is worth living with God in control. Liberty is ringing. It's loud and clear. God bless this country we hold so dear. 'Cause we are free and independent. We create for greater good. Free to love, free to live, happy in our neighborhood. One more time. We are free and independent. We create for greater good. Free to love, free to live, happy in our neighborhood. Let's spread this message throughout this earth. We are so thankful for a country's birth. Thank our forefathers for the sacrifice. We enjoyed our freedom. They paid the price. So we are free and independent. We create for greater good. Free to love, free to live, happy in our neighborhood. We are free and independent. We create for greater good. Free to love, free to live, happy in our neighborhood. Excellent. Okay, we have a new rhythm section here at Unity. Ron, when you're coming back, we've got it. We've got a groove going on. All right.
Say I'm no Ron Willis.
But Ron Willis is a friend of mine.
That's right.
And you, sir, are very close to Ron Willis.
So let us now bless our offerings. Spirit of the living God, bless the acts of our hands, our minds, our hearts. May everything offered here at Unity Spiritual Center, a reflection of all that is good within us. Grant us the courage to patiently listen for the stirring of your presence. Enliven our spirits with humor. Fill us with reverence for one another and gratitude for our diversity. May unity, beauty, and truth be the fruit of all we do, and so it is. Amen.
Yeah. Let it sink in. It sank in very well, Karsten.
So for announcements today, if you want to scroll through the announcements, Karsten. The daily word readings continue on Mondays and Thursdays. The book group has started, but you can join for one more week. Oh, good. Another. The second invitation. So it's okay. Good. We've got another person coming. And volunteer opportunities. There are opportunities galore to volunteer, especially to do, as Susan has so marvelously done today,
Applause for Susan.
as platform assistant, and that is open to anybody. And also slideshow assistants. I'm sure Carson would sometimes like to sit in the congregation and not have to push buttons. So if you'd like to do that. Oh, and I've got a question here. Is the daily word reading canceled tomorrow? And yes, it is. So there is no daily word. I forgot it was a holiday, even though I just spoke about it. So no daily word reading tomorrow. So let's bless our children. Oh, and no, gratitudes. I am grateful for Valerie and Ethel for being our greeters and ushers. And of course to Susan and Michael and Karsten and all of you here. I'm grateful that you're here.
And Gerry, why don't we talk a little bit more about the slideshow assistants, because we are also looking for a position.
Right.
And maybe somebody knows somebody.
Yes, we are looking for a tech savvy person to come and do our technology, Zoom, PowerPoint, soundboard, you name it. We want somebody to just do it all. So if you know somebody, have them contact me or
Because
Michael.
this is an actual position.
Yes, paid.
Yes.
Money. It'll be Sunday mornings, just part-time.
If someone's got audio experience, because it's a matter of being able to mix all that and be calm under fire while that's all happening. And so, yeah, yes. Basically, we'd like to keep the chat calm on Zoom. And we do have some more interactive things coming up, which means that the sound will be more difficult to run during those particular services where we'll be interacting with Zoom in real time. And that is something to think about, what's going ahead and further into what we're doing and planning for this year. So,
and I will send you a job description or a
yes.
job blurb. Yes. Yeah. Of course. Yes. Good. So yeah, check out your sources. Indeed. Oh, and we've been praying every Sunday morning as I push buttons here. That's right. Yes. So let us bless our children. I don't know if there's any online, but we will bless them whether they're here or not. We love you. We bless you. We appreciate you. And we behold the presence of God in you, empowering you to do great things.